Hello, I'm Candler Weinberg. I'm a virtual student federal service intern with the U.S. Forest Service Office of Emergency Medical Services. I've created a report on the U.S. Forest Service emergency medical services incidents involving U.S. Forest Service wildland firefighters that required air ambulance or ground ambulance transport. This is my capstone project. Let's get started. Forest Service manages 193 million acres, including 154 national forests and 20 national grasslands, 13 national monuments, and over 36 million acres of federally designated wilderness. Much of these lands are remote and sometimes harsh environments. These lands are spread over 10 U.S. Forest Service regions. There are 190 reported emergency medical services, EMS for short, incidents included in fiscal year 2020, running from April 2019 to April 2020. There are many health hazards associated with these lands, many of which are caused by occupational or environmental hazards. The U.S. Forest Service has partnered with the National Park Service to further the goals of this program. Here's a regional map of the U.S. Forest Service. Many of the incidents occurred in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Here are the goals of this report. 1. Gathering higher level information on the location, frequency, and types of incidents. 2. Evaluating the degree of collaboration between agencies and determining whether incidents required air ambulance transport. 3. Quantifying and qualifying incidents requiring U.S. Forest Service wildland firefighting and emergency medical services involvement on U.S. Forest Service lands. 4. Providing baseline data which will help the Forest Service Office of Emergency Medical Services grow through a snapshot. 5. Bringing uniformity to training and safety protocols for a rapidly growing number of new hires, many of which are EMTs or paramedics. The data was filtered to a granular level in Microsoft Excel by creating 40 data points to gain a uniform, higher-level picture of each incident. Here's a snapshot of the spreadsheet that I used to collect and analyze the data. 8 of the 40 total data points and 2 selected incidents are in this snapshot. Here's a heat map of the incidents by state. As you can see, the vast majority of incidents occurred in California. However, there are many noteworthy incidents in Arizona, Oregon, Montana, Washington, Idaho, Utah, and Alaska. Here are some data limitations. Despite the number of incidents, it's hard to assess all the regions because currently only a few of the 10 regions are providing enough data. It's also a relatively small number of incidents in a short 12-month time frame. This likely does not provide adequate data such that definitive conclusions can be made at this time, meaning that recommendations can also not be made definitively. Here are 5 recommendations for the future to improve this reporting process. 1. Region 5, which is California, requires additional data focus and tracking due to the high rate of incidents. Creating a region-specific report for Region 5 will aid in this process. 2. Traumatic injury prevention and mitigation efforts in regions 2 through 5, which are parts of the Great Plains, the Rockies, all of the Southwest, and California. Many incidents in these regions are severe enough for workers' compensation claims. 3. Continued data collection. Basic trends have begun to emerge. Via enriched reporting of each incident, this can serve as a means towards individual case reports of large-scale or highly traumatic incidents. 4. Additional sources beyond weekly fire incident reports and SafeNet reports should be evaluated. 2 sources do not provide enough data for more definitive conclusions. 5. Future interagency policy collaboration between the U.S. Forest Service and National Park Service Offices of Emergency Medical Services. It's highly likely that this interagency policy and protocol collaboration beyond documentation could potentially lower injury and illness rates in geographically similar areas. How does this report benefit the U.S. Forest Service, you might ask? Well, the U.S. Forest Service prides itself on its motto of caring for the land and serving people. This report gives a higher level understanding of large-scale and dramatic incidents, many of which required air or ground ambulance transport. This data provides a baseline of injury and illness rates by region and national forest. By using this data to lower rates, national forests will be safer for U.S. Forest Service wildland firefighters and employees and the general public. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. I hope that you enjoyed my presentation and learned something about Forest Service and its Office of Emergency Medical Services.